G'day, Stu here from UAV Futures, and today I am super pumped, super excited, a video that's very close to my heart. UAV Futures, it's all about getting people flying, experiencing FPV, and just how much fun this hobby can be. You gotta apologize too, there's a little bit of construction going on, but what we're talking about today, we're gonna be showing you guys how you can make your own DIY under 20 buck FPV goggles, and I understand that this video is not going to be for everybody. A lot of people, they're happy to spend $300, $400, $500 on their Fat Sharks, Onways, on their goggles, but today, this is going out for you guys at home. You want to try this hobby, but you don't have tons of cash to spend. We're going to be building our own goggles for 20 bucks, and I got to say, they perform pretty well. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo. Let's plug it in. I've got my drone over here. And then hopefully this is in shot in the roof cam. You can see this thing is not too shabby if I don't say so myself. Super easy to make. I'm gonna link everything we need down in the description down below. If we have a look at, I'm gonna unplug these. If we have a look at the roof cam too, you can see we're just gonna be using, this is our electronics, this is the part that comes in under 20 bucks. Then you're just gonna need some glue, a couple little cables, I'll link everything down below, something to cut it out with, some scissors, and of course I've got some little optional extras like some foam, but you could use whatever you find laying around, and I've also got some bobby pins I stole off the wife, but yeah, whatever, you'll see at the end of the build, you don't need too much to get this thing up and running, ready to rock and roll. And a huge shout out too to my Patreon supporters, because look, we're gonna be building this out of this bit of cardboard right here, but I've also got some plans, so I'm going to put those on my Patreon website. If you want to go check them out, the link will be down below, and these make it super easy. You just stick it down, build, cut it out, and then it pretty much folds together in, like, there's only really two parts, the bottom and the top, and then you're ready to rock and roll. Fold it together, and then you've got yourself a $20 pair of FPV goggles. So what we should do, let's kick it off, start with our build, and then yeah, find out how this hopefully is going to get a lot of people flying, because that's what I'm excited about, getting people flying. That's like the mission of UAV Futures. So if you're out there, you want to try FPV, you thought goggles are too expensive, this is going to be the video for you. So let's do it. Started with the DIY $20 goggles. So first things first, let's put our electronics to the side. And what you're going to do is essentially, we need to build a bottom half of our goggles and a top half that's going to fold together. Now I'm going to be using these plans, so these are the ones that I've printed out from the Patreon site. They go straight on an A4 page piece of paper. So let's glue this down. And I think I'm running out of glue actually, so I built a few of these just to make sure they work and iron out the bugs. And the way you want to stick these down too is you can see there's little lines hopefully in the cardboard. That's the, I don't know what you call them, perforations or something. That's the way you want the length of your goggle to run. It's going to give it a little bit more strength. So let's stick this down. There's looking nice. Do the same with the other one. That is just going to fit on this piece of cardboard. You just trim this up a little bit. So let's do the same on this one. Righty, so you can see this part here, this is going to be our top, you know, where we've got a nice gentle piece for our forehead. And then underneath here, this is where you might need to do a little bit of adjusting on the plan. So this is the part that's going to be underneath, like a certain cup that's going to go over our nose as well. So next thing, what we're going to do, let's cut it out. So with the magic of editing, we'll see what that looks like once I've cut these out. All I'm going to do is go around, cut the squares out, and then we'll talk about how you can have different sizes, different focal lengths, and all that sort of stuff. So let's cut it out and then cut back in 3, 2, 1. Rightio, so there we go. We've cut out our designs, ready to rock and roll. Now look, if you're not using these Patreon plans, which make it super easy to stick them together, you can sign up to, I think it's like $1 at the lowest tier if you want to get these plans. But if you want to make them at home, all you need to do is essentially, the way I measured it out was measured my screen size, because that's where our screen is going to go, and then that was also the width on the side that we needed it. So it needs to be that deep and that wide at the front. And then the length of the thing is just how long, I guess, you need to focus. So the longer it is to focus, the better it's going to be for some older eyes. Younger eyes tend to be able to focus much easier on a shorter focal length, which is why on the plans you would have noticed, if I see here in the roof cam, you can see we have our short focus, normal focus, and long focus. And then you need one little extra tab on top of that as a bit of a buffer where you can put your electronics in behind that. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be building the normal size right here. So that's this one. So I can completely cut this one out. And this one right here, this is what's going to become our buffer. Excuse my old teacher writing as well. So I'm going to cut those. Alrighty, so you can see that's all looking nice and sharp, and also same thing here, we don't actually need this long one because we've got our short part here, medium here, so on the bottom section, so we've got our short part here, normal length there, so let's cut along there. That's what you see all these lines for, so you can choose the right focal length for you. Alrighty, now that is all done. We're about to fold it up, but we're going to do a few easy cuts first, and what we're going to do, we're going to get our double-sided tape, and you can see these lines just here, that's where I'm going to be cutting to put our little Velcro strap, which I'll link down below as well, but you could also just go to the shops, and whether you want to pick up a bit of elastic for like $1, it's totally up to you. There's two, and you notice on mine, because look, I got a bit of elastic that's kind of made for this that goes over the top, over the front of your head that's going to clip on here. That's why I've got this little part here. You don't need to cut that. If you're just using elastic that goes around the back of the head like a normal Fat Shark style, don't worry about this little piece that I'm adding in. Alrighty, so whatever elastic you're using, we're going to cut it just to about the same length, I guess, or the same width. I'm going to flip it over and cut it from the other side as well. This is something I learned by making a couple of these to make sure I guess it works for you guys, because once you put it all together, this is when I first tried to cut it in there. It was much more difficult trying to cut it once it was all made, so much easier when it's flat on the bench. Now you notice right here, there's two other little cutout sections, so this is where our antenna is going to go, so we're going to put a little hole through the middle right there. That needs to be about 5 mils big. And then I'm just going to cut this part out. This is going to be for where our buttons poke through. So that's it, all cut out, almost ready to fold together on our top section. On the bottom section, all we need to do here, because when we put our screen in, we're going to have a ribbon cable that comes out the back. So we need to cut ourselves a little space that's in here. So let's go ahead and do that now. And because I'm using the medium section on my plans, or I guess the normal focal length, the hole should probably be in this middle part here. So I'm going to cut that out. And look, they don't have to be perfect because you're not going to see actually this part. Alrighty, so I can actually get rid of this cardboard now. Actually, I might leave it there. It makes it easier to see against the backdrop. Right, so all our cutouts are done. We've got our ribbon cable cut out. We've got our button place. We've got our antenna holder. Everything's ready to rock and roll. We've cut our slits for our elastic straps that are going to go around our head. Now we're going to fold it. Now, don't just fold it in your hands. A good little tip. You want to put it flat against the table or something with a straight edge. And I can't really get this in shot in the roof cam, but you want to fold it against a table with a straight edge, and then yeah, it's going to make your cardboard fold very nice and very straight. So we're going to do that to the two sides. And then we've got one at the top. Now remember, this part, that's our little buffer. We're going to need that for a little bit of space, and this line here was our normal size, so this middle line is the one I'm going to be folding it on. Same process, put it flat. That's looking nice. And then we'll do the same on this one. Alrighty, actually what I forgot to do, I forgot to cut this top off. So this part right here, depending on the length you're going to have it, here's our normal focal length across the top as well, but that part's not going to matter too much. So there we go. This is essentially our top piece that's going to go on top of our goggles. Here's our bottom piece that's going to go underneath. We're going to put these two together in a second, but first things first, let's put our little screen in. So what you're going to need to do, a bit of double-sided tape on the back of here. That's one. That's two. Now we're going to flip this so the plan is on the outside. Feed your ribbon cable through that little hole, and then just sit the base of the screen in the bottom of the fold that you created. Fold it up. That should be all nice and honky-dory. Oh, also too, I forgot I should have cut along the front of that line because I forgot we're doing the normal focal length, so let me just cut that. Alrighty, so there it is. We've put our screen in. Now it's time to add the back of our receiver or our receiver unit, so our electronics. What you want to do, put a bit of double-sided tape on this bad boy as well. And you're also going to feed this little ribbon cable into this little part just here. Then once that's done, you can simply stick this down. It should make a little click noise too when you're pushing these things together. Alrighty, there we go, nice and secure. And now the fun part, what we're going to do, we're going to sort of fold it up, fold it together. So flip your screen up. These two little buffers you can see right here, they're going to go on that part. And what I did, I actually ran a piece of tape around the whole outside part just to sort of hold it together nice and snug. So I'm going to get a bit of tape and do that now. This is where an extra pair of hands comes in handy as well. Alrighty, and you can see that's why we had these two little tabs on the outside, so just to give us a little bit of extra room for our components in the front. Now what we're going to do, get another bit of double-sided tape because we're going to stick our buttons on right here, so they're just going to go just there, which is why on the plans I've made it nice and simple. That's looking good, and believe it or not, that's like, this could actually work right now, but we need some way of strapping it to our head. Rightio, so we've got our bottom section done. Now we're about to stick our top to it, but let's make our life easy and do some other parts first. So this is where you take your elastic or whatever you've got, and all you're going to do is simply slide it into the little holes that you've cut on the outside of the top part, and you might need a little pair of pliers to help pull it through. So there's one. Let's do the other one. There's two. This top strap just sort of helps alleviate some of the pressure on the top of your head as well. So it should be this way. Alrighty, so we've done that. We've put our Velcro straps in now. This is where I thought this was a bit of a genius idea, still in my wife's bobby pins. You could use toothpicks or something else, but all you need to do, slide some bobby pins in there, pull it back, and now that's not going to be going anywhere. So it's going to be nice and secure to your head. Rightio, so there's our top part ready to stick together to our bottom part. Everything should line up nicely. What you can do, you can push the little antenna part through the little hole there, but I would also recommend, you've got this little part here at the front, you can either do some direct soldering, so hopefully that's in shot, or I'll link some of these cables down below, and this is going to be so you can hook up a battery. So essentially, let me just take this off, and I'm going to click this little part right in here. Rightio, so this is going to be how we're going to power our goggles. They run on a 1S LiPo as well. So that's done. That should come out just out the side. We'll have a little gap, but that's all plugged in. Let's line our buttonholes up. It's all coming together very nicely. Oh, I should say too, put a little bit of tape on the underside of your antenna so that doesn't fall through. Alrighty, and now let's fold it all together, and then our goggles are getting pretty close to completion. That should fold down. Look at that. That's why I like this plan. It makes it super easy. You print it out, you stick it together, you're going to end up with a pair of goggles that looks like this. Maybe even better if you took a little bit more time and had some more hands helping you. Now what you need to do, let's run a bit of tape around the outside just to secure this thing, make it all nice and snug. I'll link this tape I'm using down below as well because this cloth tape is super strong. this off. Then the last part that I did, because look, you still can pull these apart, I'm going to run a bit of tape around the outside of it, just like this. Alrighty, so there it is. Now all you need to do, attach an antenna and attach a battery. I've got my little battery over here. I'll link some 1S LiPos down below as well. Look, you could direct solder. Some people might even want to use AA batteries if they don't want to do any soldering or anything like that. Connect it up, and then look at that. Bob's your uncle. We've got a pair of FPV goggles. Plug my drone in. And then boom, let me just get this on band. I think I'm on Fat Shark, I believe. Fat Shark, or is it E1? There we go, we're on E1. So there's our goggles, ready to rock and roll, looking pretty sharp if I don't say so myself. So, and then some of the other little extras, you know, you can put a bit of foam padding around here just to make it a bit more comfy on your face. Adjust that play level of how far you want to do it when you're building your goggles, all that sort of stuff. But overall, that's it. There's the $20 DIY FPV goggles. So if you're out there, you want to try FPV and you think, gee, that looks so much fun, but I don't have the cash to drop on those $300, $400, $500 Fat Sharks or anything like that. Well, this one, it's got you covered. I'm going to put the plans and the link to my Patreon down below, so if you just want to, you don't want to do any of the hassle, you can sign up, it's like $1, and then you can print the plans out, put them together on a bit of cardboard. You're going to end up with some goggles that look like this, or if you don't do that, feel free just to follow along, measure it yourself, and you know, you can see just how easy it is to design your own plans, put it together. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully it gets a lot of people flying, because that's what UAV Futures is all about. Huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. I couldn't share this message of FPV without your support, so you keep this channel going. Other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying with your $20 FPV goggles. Pretty crazy. And another little addition too, I would say, I might add some little side blinkers on here just to block a little bit more light out as well. But anyway, they're little additions I'm sure you guys can come up with as well. I'd love to see your designs and what you do with your own goggles. So anyway, I'm pretty excited. Other than that, happy flying.